Hey everyone, this is Corinne Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean and between the lines. And you know how we do it here between the lines. We start off with gratitude or thankfulness. It is such a pleasure to be here above ground, people. Not a lot of people are above ground. Yes, so you have to be thankful or grateful to still see another day. Like I say to people, especially with this crisis we are going through in the world, the pandemic, once you wake up to see another day and you can see the beauty of the world, everything else is a bonus. Everything else is a bonus, people. It's great to be alive. All right? So be thankful. Be thankful for your family, your friends, people who you think are your friends but are not. Say thanks for that too, because they're here to teach you a lesson. So we're here with Dr. Alan Lycka, the silver fox. Oh yes, the silver fox, the man with the Alaskan blonde hairstyle. We were just talking about it off air. So don't be jealous. Don't be jealous of him with his Alaskan hairstyle, okay? In the Caribbean, we call that platinum blonde, but he made me know it's called the Alaskan blonde, okay? So you can tell anyone you heard it here on Between the Lines. Let me tell you a bit about what we're talking about today. We're talking about 6 months to live, and when I read his bio, you will know why. In 2003, Dr. Alan Lycka was diagnosed with ALS, and you will hear about that in a minute, and given 6 months to live. After fighting the diagnosis, he's here today as a result of his courage and determination. Having been given a golden ticket to live every day to the fullest, Dr. Lycka uses experience to co-author the book, The Secrets of Living a Fantastic Life with Harriet Tinker. Dr. Lycka is acknowledged as one of the leading cosmetic dermatologists in the world. Clearly, I need to have a word with him. A, a pioneer in cosmetic surgery. He helped develop several new technologies and has spoken at podiums around the globe. Dr. Lycka has written 17 books, 30 plus academic papers, and was awarded 16 consecutive Consumer Choice Awards for excellence in cosmetic surgery, a feat no one has achieved before in the field. As a transformational speaker, taught leader, coach, and mentor, who is widely acknowledged as a leading expert in living a fantastic life and turning points, he has been a guest on dozens of television and radio shows and podcasts like mine. I'm honored to have him, as well as featured in numerous newspaper articles, blogs, and magazines. Driven by family values, he is happily married, can you tell, to his wife of 39 years, Dr. Bernier-Lycka. Isn't that wonderful? I hope I pronounced her name properly. They have 4 wonderful daughters and 7 beautiful grandchildren. Dr. Lycka counts his family as his most important accomplishment, which is what it should be, people, because the books can come and go, everything can come and go, but who stays around? The family. Welcome, Dr. Alan Lycka, to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much for having me. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. And in fact, as you said, it's a pleasure to be anywhere when I almost died in 2003.
Wow, that wasn't long ago, Dr. Lycka. 2003 is not far from now, it might seem far, but it was just the other day. What
It
happened? Why are you
was.
on my show? Am I speaking to a dead person?
I
What?
hope not. I think you'll see I'm very much alive, but I'd love to take you back to 2003 for a minute, just
Sure.
so we can talk to your audience a little bit about that.
Yeah, go right ahead and tell us what is ALS, just in case
Okay, well,
you
let me
don't know.
start at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was walking with my wife
Hmm.
and my youngest daughter in Disneyland. That's the happiest place on earth, right?
Of course. Of
Of
course.
course. Well, I was walking. It was the end of a hot, sticky day. It
Oh.
was February.
Hmm.
Uh, my wife turned to me and said, "What's wrong with you, hon?" I was taken aback, Corinne, because for once in my life, I hadn't said anything wrong. I hadn't done anything wrong. I hadn't even thunk anything wrong. But
Uh-huh.
my wife persisted and
Uh-huh.
she said, "Listen to your foot." Now, Corinne, I had no idea what she was talking about. My wife is delightful. She's French Canadian, but
Mhm.
she doesn't always speak in English, if you know what I mean. So she said, listen to your foot. And I turned to her and I said, what do you mean? She said, well, listen to it. Well, my right foot had suddenly and mysteriously developed a foot drop. Now, to your audience, that means my foot was slapping on the pavement with every step I was taking. You know, your brain is developed so that it doesn't allow something like that to happen. So
Mhm.
something was wrong. My wife said, did you have a stroke? I said, dear, you're a doctor. I'm a doctor. That's not how strokes present. If I had a stroke, I'd be laying here on the pavement.
Mhm.
So my wife said, well, when we get back, you better get this checked out.
Oh my God.
I had no choice, Corinne. When your
Yeah.
wife says it in that tone of voice,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know you better listen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So when we got back, I got it checked out. I saw hundreds of doctors. They did CAT scans. They did PET scans. They did brain scans.
Wow.
And you know what they saw at the end of the day?
I'm thinking nothing.
You're absolutely right. They saw nothing. And you know what a doctor does when he sees nothing?
They're in shock. They can't figure out what's going on.
Yes, but a doctor doesn't want to be in shock. He doesn't want, so he does more tests
Yes.
and more tests and
Yes.
more tests.
Right.
I had every test known to man. In fact, I'll guarantee I had tests that didn't even exist then, or they don't even exist now.
My God.
But at the end of the day, I ended up on the doorstep of a world-leading neurologist. Now,
Whoa.
a neurologist is a brain guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that has all the answers. He's the guy that knows all the answers to these funny programs. So I walked in, I sauntered in, and I said, hi. He said, hi. You better be sitting down when I tell you this. I said, why? I have a dropped right foot. He said, no, you don't. You have ALS. You have Lou Gehrig's disease. That means
Whoa.
in 6 months you're going to be dead. Get your affairs in order.
Do you know, I want to stick a pin there, Dr. Lycka. Do you know when you mentioned that, you know who came to me? That swimmer who competed in the Olympics years ago, Greg Louganis. Was it him? I think he had the same thing.
Yes,
Yes. Oh my God, he was a sight to see diving. He used to be a diver.
yes.
Yeah, Olympic diver. He was just, oh my God. When I heard of it, it was really, yeah. Wow.
Well, you know, Lou Gehrig's disease for most people is a fatal diagnosis.
Mhm.
So I told that neurologist, I said, I'm not going to die to prove you wrong. Uh, but you know, when you lose something very important, when you go through this process, you go through a grief reaction.
Yes.
And a grief reaction was written by a beautiful, amazing author by the name of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She wrote a book on death and dying. And
Really?
in this book, she wrote the stages a person goes through. Well, the first stage is anger. A person becomes very angry when they lose something and they're going through death. They get very mad. And I was very mad. I could bite the head off nails. But you also go through a phase of denial.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing wrong. I can do anything. I'd work 18, 20 hours a day. And at the end of that, I said, if I'm going to die, I'm going to have something to show for it. But you know, Corinne, in your heart of hearts, there is something wrong. You can't really deny it.
Yeah.
So you go through bargaining. You go and say, oh God, please don't let this happen. I will do anything if you
Yeah.
don't let this happen.
Yeah.
Finally, one of the last phases is depression, where
Wow.
everything is black, everything is gray.
Mhm.
Every day you wonder why you should get out of bed because it really doesn't matter. And those are the dark days that I think a lot of people are going through right now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think those are the very trying days.
Mm-hmm.
But the last phase that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross had was acceptance. Well, I wasn't going to accept this because in my heart of hearts, I knew the diagnosis was wrong. You see, I'm a doctor. And, you know, us doctors, although we like things black and white, most of the time they're gray. Most of the time, a person presents with symptoms and we have to figure it out. Take, for example, the COVID virus.
Mm-hmm.
A person comes in with a cough.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have COVID? Well, maybe, but there's 70,000 other things that cause coughing too.
That's right.
Okay, so we know that the world is not parceled in such packages that we can really understand them.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to my wife, who's a medical doctor, and I said, "Dear, what do I have?" She said, "Dear, I don't have the faintest idea, but you're smart. You can figure it out."
Oh, oh my God, you married a doctor. That,
Yes,
I
I
mean,
married a doctor, and you know, it's a good thing and a bad thing because we don't always have all the answers. But you know, back in 2003, something new was invented. Corinne, you might have heard about it. It's called the internet.
really? I haven't heard of it. Where is it?
Really? Well, you know, it's this newfangled thing that's like the best library in the world, but you
Wow.
can't tell the books from the garbage cans. So it's
Re-
very, very hard to figure it out at times.
You
Now,
must send,
in
you must send me a link.
2020, we have Dr. Google. So we asked just Dr. Google, and Dr. Google gives us some answers.
That's right. That's right. And I think there's something called, I heard somebody mention YouTube. There's,
Yes, YouTube. And that's the other thing that gives us almost all the answers.
that's
So,
right.
you know, we've got a lot of answers, but back in 2003, to
Mhm.
get on the internet, you had to use a dial-on connection.
Oh,
That means you had to put your phone in a cradle and it would communicate with another phone and it would go ria, ria, ria for something like 20 minutes and
yeah.
finally it would connect. But you know, it wasn't like the internet of today. All you could do was phone up the particular place you wanted to connect to.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to get in touch with particular someone, you had to know who that somebody was.
Hmm.
Well, I had friends that were nerds and they helped me find what I needed. And I found a doctor in Colorado Springs, Colorado, by the name of David Martz. He was a doctor who had symptoms very similar to I did, but he got worse much more rapidly.
Okay.
And he was on his deathbed when doctors from around the world were coming to say goodbye to David. Everybody loved him because he was an amazing man.
Mhm.
And this doctor came up from Texas and he looked at David for a couple of minutes and he said, "David, there's something wrong with this picture. I do not think you have ALS. I do not think you have Lou Gehrig's disease." David whispered, because that's all he could do at that time. He said, "What do I have?" The doctor from Texas said, "I can't be certain, but I think you have chronic Lyme's disease. I think you were bitten by a tick, and that tick has caused a disease that looks just like Lou Gehrig's disease."
Wow.
Now he said, "If I'm right, I will start you on treatment and I will get you better."
Wow.
David said, "Well, what do I have to lose? I'm dying."
Yeah. Yeah.
So he got started on treatment and a miracle happened, Corinne. Like Lazarus, within 2 weeks, he arose from the dead.
Wow. Wow. Was it the same? Was it the same for you?
Well, you know, I knew I had to get in touch with David
Mhm.
because I knew he had parts of the puzzle that I did not have.
Mhm.
So every doctor can get in touch with every other doctor if he wants to, Corinne.
That's right.
I phoned every hospital in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and the operator at the Methodist Hospital put me through to David.
Wow.
So David answered my phone, and we talked for hours. And he said, this sounds very interesting, Dr. Lycka. I've started a clinic, he said, where I'm treating 2,000 people with this weird disease, he said.
Oh.
Can you come down and see me? And I asked him when. He said, what about right now? And I said to David, I can't. It's our Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. My wife has invited over 50 people. She will kill me.
For sure. Which way you want to go? You want to go with ALS or you want to go with your wife killing you? Make up your mind.
I went up to my wife and I said, dear, I'm not going to be here for Thanksgiving.
Oh my God, and you're talking to me today?
And she said, why?
You're talking to me today, Dr. Lycka? You're still alive? How did you manage that?
Well, I told her, dear, I think there's this doctor in Colorado Springs that might have some answers to my problem. And he wants me to come down now. And I told him I couldn't come. And he asked me, are there any planes in Canada?
I figured.
So I said, instead of being embarrassed, I think I better come down. And my wife said, of course you must. I'll pack your bag for you. Get on the plane, make a reservation, get down. And so I went down, Corinne. I flew from Edmonton to Denver, which is a great flight. It's about 3 hours long, fantastic, straight shot. Then I got on this tiny little plane from Denver to Colorado Springs. Have you ever been on that plane?
No, but I've been on a small
plane. Well, thank God, because you might have died on that plane. That plane is the worst plane ride in the world. It's only 15 minutes round, but it's like the wild mouse at a fair. It's like a Ferris wheel. It's like the drop of doom over and over and over again.
That must have been exciting.
At the end of the day, air comes off the desert and it creates eddies, which means turbulence.
Oh.
Well, I've flown to the Bahamas. I've flown to a lot of the islands down there, and I've met turbulence. So you know what I'm talking about. It's terrible.
Hey, that was preparing you for that, okay? That was preparing.
Well, it was when I got off that plane, I crawled off, and there was David on the tarmac to meet me. He said, Dr. Lycka, you don't look so good. And David, I said, I don't feel so good. And David said, I think this is just a metaphor for what you've gone through.
That's right.
I think it's really an example of what's happened to you. And David and I talked for hours, and he said these wonderful words, I think history is repeating itself.
Wow.
So David started me on treatment, and I got a lot better. I got miraculously better, to the point my right leg was not giving me any problems. I could do my surgeries again.
Wow.
I could do all the things I did before. But Corinne, when you go through something like this, your life changes. You literally have been given a second chance.
That's right.
You know that every day is a blessed day on this planet. That every day that you have to live, you have to live it to the fullest.
To the fullest. Everything else is a bonus, Dr. Lycka. Everything else is a bonus.
So, every day, I start every day with my gratitude journal. And I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. For example, today I wrote down, oh my goodness, I'm going to the Caribbean today. I'm going to be spending some time with my new best friend, Corinne.
That's right. I made the list.
There we go. Top of the list yet, not just the bottom, the top. And I said, the second thing is I get to share with your wonderful audience some of these wonderful things that I've learned, and I can help them without them going through the hardship that I went through.
That's right. There is hope. There is hope. Yep. There is hope.
So what I did, Corinne, after this is I started giving back to the community, and I gave an award for the YWCA in Edmonton for Women of Distinction. You see, probably in your society as well, but in ours, we don't honor women enough for all the wonderful things they do. So
Mhm.
I thought it would be a great thing to sponsor that award. And you know, lo and behold, when I sponsored that award, a wonderful woman by the name of Harriet Tinka applied for a category called Turning Points. Now, you know, Harriet had some terrible things that have happened in her life. She was a world-class model in New York, but she was retiring from the industry and she wanted to become an accountant. So she went to the University of Calgary and started taking classes, and a very evil man befriended her. It ended up he kidnapped her, stabbed her, and
Oh,
left her for dead.
oh my. Oh my.
Now, Harriet did not use this as something to make herself evil or cruel.
Yeah.
What she did was she used this as a gift to give back to others. And this is why she was winning this award for Turning Points, because somebody nominated her for that category.
Wow.
Now, when she won that award, Miss Harriet decided to buy me lunch. And she never lets me forget it to this day.
You owe
Now,
her. You owe
at
her.
that lunch, Corinne, she said, Dr. Lycka, you've got an amazing story. I've got an amazing story, she said. We must share it with the world. Let's write a book together. So that was over 6 years ago, because you know it's very hard to write. Actually, it's easy to write, Corinne. All you have to do is slit your wrists and bleed.
People don't follow that tip. Do not
But
follow that tip from Dr. Light.
I do not advocate you follow it, but that's what she's showing, that to write a book, you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah,
You have to let your vulnerability come
that's
out.
it. That's
And
it.
not many of us are willing to become vulnerable.
No. And that's a thing, that's missing in the world. But I found that the pandemic has been slowly opening up that wound of vulnerability in people where they can't help but say they need help, but speak out about how they're feeling, about what's going on with them from losing their jobs, or even, being at home with their families and feeling the way that they feel.
But you know, I think the world going through a pandemic is a microcosm from what Harriet and I went through. Everybody is going through that same grief reaction.
Right.
If you haven't noticed, people are much more angry than they ever were, Corinne.
Yeah.
That anger is spilling over into the streets of the United
Yeah.
States, the streets of Canada. It's
Yeah.
coming up with violence. It's
That's
coming up with a very evil part of mankind right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people were living a false reality. I don't think I know. They created a reality that they were comfortable in, and now that has been shaken up.
Well, and you know, that's another thing they're going through. They're going through denial. How
Yeah.
many people are denying that there's a pandemic going on?
Oh,
How
yeah.
many people are refusing to wear masks
Oh,
or
yeah.
follow social distancing?
Oh, yeah.
How many people are not following medical advice and denying that there's actually anything happening?
That's right. That's right. False reality. Because that is what makes them feel better. That is what makes them feel better. Can you imagine if you had done that to yourself in
Oh, yeah.
2003? And when
And how
your
many
wife is
people are
telling
going through bargaining right now? Oh God, please don't let this happen. They
you,
want some magical thinking to
yeah,
make themselves better. They
yeah,
want something magical that's going to take this all the way and
yeah,
make it happen.
yeah, no. We have to take responsibility. I was just saying, imagine if you had created a false reality for
Oh,
your
yeah.
condition in 2003. You would not have been here talking
And
to
what
us
about
today.
this thing?
Yeah,
eh, Yeah. And what
yeah,
about this thing called depression, where every day is dark and gloomy? Just turn on the news for 2 minutes and you will see the world's going to end tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is some crazy thing there. It's crazy the kind of false realities that people create in order for them to survive, for them to live and navigate the world. You just prefer to cover your eyes, ears, and create a bubble around you as opposed to realizing this is what it is in front of me.
Well, as a result of Harriet's and my first meeting, we decided to write this book in a very unique way. What it is a dialogue between her and I, and the audience is invited like a fly on the wall to really listen into our dialogue. And this book is written as a dialogue between Harriet and I. And yes, we start joking in our book. And yes, we tell little funny things there. And you can get a free chapter by just going to my website, drallenlycka.com. That's DRALLEN Lycka, LYCKA.com.
Yeah.
Just sign in with your email there, and we will give you a free chapter of my book so that you can start understanding and enjoying it. And I also have another way for them to communicate with me as well, Corinne, and that's they can send me, just text me the word golden pearls. Golden pearls, 2 words, to 1-819-717-2515. That's 1-819-717-2515. Golden pearls. And I will send your audience a golden pearl a week. It'll arrive every Tuesday morning at around 11 o'clock. And that golden pearl will help to frame your thoughts better and make your thoughts a lot better. So this week, for example, was a quote from Martin Luther King. It said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that.
Oh, yeah.
Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Now there's a golden pearl that everybody should take to heart in this time of life where they're going through COVID, or if they're going through anything else. Because I think everybody right now needs some love. I think everybody right now needs a time when they're moving forward. And I hope our little book will do that. And in our book, we talk about 13 golden pearls. Now, Corinne, do you know how a golden pearl is made?
No, but I noticed that on your book cover, and I wondered what it was. What was the connection with the pearls, the golden pearls?
Well, let me just explain. When Harriet and I were writing this book, we found these wonderful things, we found these things that were little bits of wisdom, and we asked, how can we communicate them? And I suggested to Harriet that we call them golden nuggets. And Harriet looked at me, she wrinkled up her nose and said, "Oh, Dr. Lycka, that sounds too much like fast food." Ever since I was a little girl, I've been obsessed with pearls. And then I looked up pearls, and a pearl is made because a little grain of sand gets inside of an oyster, and that oyster gets traumatized by it. And because of that trauma, that oyster makes this beautiful, solitary, beautiful pearl. Now, golden pearls actually exist, but they only exist in the Indonesian and South Pacific areas of the world, and they're only made by specific oysters. Now, these pearls are so magnificent. A single solitary golden pearl cost upwards of $10,000.
Wow. So let me see if I get you right, Dr. Lycka. You're saying that trauma in our life can end up with us becoming the most beautifully transformed, priceless gem?
Yes, diamonds are made when carbon is put under pressure and heat. That's what makes a diamond. And it's the same thing with us. There's an old saying that the samurai warriors used to say, "What doesn't kill us makes us stronger." And it's true about everything in life, that everything we do actually makes us better. So, these COVID times are very challenging times, but it's really our choice whether we make this into a benefit or whether we make it into something else. Now, there were some famous words by a philosopher by the name of Epictetus back in about 2,000 years ago. And what he said was, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens.
That's right.
Think about that for a minute, Corinne. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens.
Yeah, no, that is exactly it. Just like they say, it's not a matter of, it's how you react to the situation. You know, it, your response is what determines
So,
the
so
interaction.
Harriet and I found we found these wonderful golden pearls, and they're found in each and every one of us. So we actually found 20 to begin with. And then we sampled some audiences and they said, oh, this is a wonderful book, but you know, there's too much in it, they said to us, Corinne. They said, could you please just give us your best golden pearls and then save the rest for another book? So we put 13 of our best golden pearls in this book. We start with love and we end up with empowerment. But you know, because this COVID epidemic was on, just as we were launching our book, we gave a bonus pearl on fear because so many people were afraid. So many people were having problems with it. So we wrote one extra chapter to give to our audience because everybody needed to know how to deal with fear.
Yeah.
And Corinne, the word fear is a very interesting word. Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, the person who wrote the foreword for our book, said the following about fear. It means false expectations appearing real. So it's an eponym. Yeah. And did you know that 95% of the things we're really afraid of really do not happen?
They don't even exist. They don't even exist. It's all in
they
your
don't
mind.
Even exist. They're phantoms.
It's all in your mind.
They're all in your mind. And so that's very important for people to realize that fear is something that people do not need to worry about.
Yeah.
Now, another one of my favorite golden pearls is laughter. Do you love to laugh, Corinne?
I laugh at everything all day, every day. People think, Dr. Lycka, that I take everything for a joke. But listen, I do not plan to age. I am actually not aging. I am always 25. Every year I am 25. And cool. Anybody who wants to argue with me, well, they will stand up there by themselves and argue. I look like 25. I feel like 25. I behave like 25. Okay? I don't care. That's what it is.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, scientists have actually studied laughter, and they found it's the best way to get your mind and body back into sync than any other thing. And you know, in a situation where you're being employed, 95% of bosses find that a sense of humor is important for promotion.
Of course, it is. But it speaks to your whole...
Now, there's something else that scientists have done. Scientists have actually studied the world's funniest joke. Do you want to hear the world's funniest joke?
Are you sure you want to try that on this show here? No, Dr. Lycka, give it a go.
Let's give it a go. Let's see if we can transport the language barrier. There were two hunters. They were hunting in the Caribbean. They were way out in the woods. And one hunter fell down dead. His buddy was taken aback. He said, buddy, wake up, wake up. His buddy didn't move. So he pulled out his cell phone and he phoned the operator. And the operator said, operator, please help me. I think my buddy is dead. The operator said, calm down, sir. You know, this happens all the time. Could you please make sure he's dead? So the buddy drops down the phone. You could hear a loud click and then a loud bang. Then he goes back to the operator and said, okay, he's dead. What do I do now? Now, Corinne, that's either the world's funniest joke or the world's worst joke, depending on which audience I tell it to.
I don't know which one is dead. It must be the phone that's his body that fell because the phone is dead, not the guy.
But it did make you laugh. And I think this is what we have to say about jokes, though. Isn't it the improbabilities of life that make us laugh? You know, at times we would cry, but it is much better to laugh because that gets us through that situation.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But before we end, because we went over time, but that's okay. This is my show. I want to touch on you being a cosmetic. Is it a cosmetic surgeon? The whole cosmetology side, because I know when I read your bio, there are women that would be listening to this and would have an interest in that aspect of you. So tell
Well,
us.
you know, a lot of people do, and I must tell them that I do not concentrate on that anymore. That was my former life. However, I have written 17 books on that concept. So if anybody needs any help in that area, all they need to go is to Amazon.com, look up Dr. Lycka, and they can get help in any area they want to.
So you're not performing as a cosmetic surgeon anymore?
No, I walked away from that about a year to serve mankind
Oh,
in another
nice.
way that I
I
think will
love
be
it.
helpful.
I love it. So you're making other people pretty in a different way.
I'm making people healthier in their mindset. I'm
That's
making them healthier in living a fantastic life. And
that's
that's where I am right now.
Oh yeah, and that's the best place to be. You see, that's why you look so good. That's why you have the Alaskan hairstyle, Alaskan blonde, the silver fox. That's why. That's why. This is awesome. You are based in Canada, right, Dr. Lycka?
Yes, I'm way up in a little place called Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, which is way, way north.
Whenever travel resumes and I get to come to Canada, I will surely visit you.
And I will surely visit you as well because I
Yes,
like the Caribbean and
yes,
it's been a wonderful place to visit.
yeah. I have to come and see your wife and share stories. Just me and her. Just me and her. We don't want you around. Just
That sounds great. I'm sure she'd love them. I'm sure she'd love them.
yeah, yeah. Only the girls hanging. Only the girls hanging. We don't want any men around. No men.
That sounds good. And I will go and have a Mai Tai while you're doing that.
That's fine. We don't want you around. Just me and Bernier. We don't want you around.
Sounds good. It sounds like a fun time. It'll have a great time.
Thank you so much. But this has been fun, and I really appreciate you sharing your story of 6 months to live. And I want to share a takeaway that I got, that man can tell you anything. Man can tell you anything. People trust doctors, and I'm not saying not to trust doctors, but man can tell you anything. But I'm a spiritual person, and I believe that God is the one who decides. And because you knew deep down that it wasn't meant to be, he led you. He led you to find the person, to go on the internet, to go on Google, to go on YouTube, to lead you to Dr. David, for you to be here on my show today. And I'm
You
truly
know,
thankful.
I think God works in mysterious ways
Oh,
and we
yes.
will never totally understand his plan,
No,
but he's given us certain ways to help others on this planet.
that's
And I
right.
really encourage others to seek out some of the things, some of the knowledge that I've been able to put together in the book that I wrote with Harriet and I. And
Yeah,
hopefully others will overcome some of their problems they're facing today.
that's right. That's right. Even if it's one thing you can take away from that book. And I'm sure in one person reading it, they would know somebody else that the book can touch. That is what touching people's lives is about. You touch one, that one touch another, and another touch another. Thank you so
That's
much,
right.
Dr. Lycka, for being on Between the Lines, for sharing your story, your wisdom. You're here for a reason. So that means your purpose is
Well, and I would like to challenge your audience
yeah,
today
yeah.
to do something for somebody else they wouldn't regularly do, because that's how we're going to make the world a better place.
Oh yeah.
I would ask them to touch out to their neighbor, do something for their neighbor, maybe bake some cookies,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
do something for them that they don't, maybe they need some help with their yard or something that they haven't been able to do.
Yeah.
Maybe you have some extra clothing in your closet that you
Yeah.
don't need and
Yeah.
you can give it to the charities there to help somebody. because then the world will be a better place and you will pay it forward.
That's right. I remember I used to do that, and especially with my kids, and I got my kids involved in that too. Packing up all their toys. You know, they outgrow certain things, all their toys and the clothes and the whatever, and pack it up, give it to the library, give it to the shelters, give it to Salvation Army, you know, the women's homes. We used to do that, and I got my children involved. And let me tell you, the letting go process was hard for them. It was like, no, I still need the toy. I still like this toy. I still want.
Well, and you know, right now today, Corinne, over 50% of people in this world do not have enough food to eat today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you can give something to help people have something to eat right now who doesn't have any, boy, would you make the world a much better place.
That's right. That's right. And you wouldn't believe, just by giving, you feel good about yourself. So when you think you're helping somebody, the payback is really on you. Thank you so much.
And so in addition to those golden pearls, to everybody that writes me and sends the word golden pearls to me, to get some golden pearls, and I'll repeat that number. Yeah. It's 1-819-717-2515. That's 1-819-717-2515. One person who applies today will also get a copy of my book, The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life, entirely for free.
Nice, nice. I see you holding the book, and I see it behind you as well, the cover behind you. You want to hold it up? Let's see what that book looks like.
Yes, let me hold that up for you.
Yay! There you go. There you go. Yes.
And you will see that on there. It's a #1 best-selling book of the pandemic of 2020.
Hey, anything is possible. Anything is possible, Dr. Lycka. Thank you again so much for being on Between the Lines. It's been a pleasure having you. You have a great rest of the evening.
Well, and Corinne, I would like to invite you to come on my podcast as well. I run a podcast that's going to be released in the near future. And I'd also like you to have Harriet on your show alone, because I think she can fill in some of the pieces that I didn't fill in very well today.
Not a problem at all. You make the connection and we'll get that going.
We will. Tammy will be in touch with you shortly.
Not a problem at all. You have a great evening, and all the best to you and the new purpose of your life and the work that you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much, Corinne. It really was a fantastic time being with you. You as well. Stay well, stay healthy, stay COVID free.
Oh, yes, for sure. Thank you.
Bye for now.